Hey guys, KYT here. Inspired to do some videos, maybe weekly videos as we head into our GM meeting, either in December, late December, or January, to vote on some changes. And I know I feel the same way as Mike, saying like we put a lot of effort. Like it's usually efforts in spurts, and then it sort of diffuses. People don't really care anymore as much for most of the year, and then I start restarting. But I hate feeling like I'm the one like nagging about changes. But again, one last run. Let's try to do this again. I'll keep these hopefully under 5 minutes. So we're probably all going to vote for splitting truck, eliminating PIMS at least for next season, and in the future years maybe we vote inverted PIMS. And what I wanted to present in these weekly videos, quick videos, is like different ideas we haven't talked about or we just haven't like discussed at length. So Chat GPT is pretty cool. In terms of you can ask them suggestions to improve categories for certain things, and I'll show you what I mean. Like we've talked about, like either removing goalie categories, adding them, but we can attack problems from many different angles. Like for example, I was been talking with John and Ninot about increasing number of trades, but then it's like we ended up like talking about how to increase trades. Is it for goalies specifically or for skaters as well? And so it's important that there's a lot of implications for any suggestions. So for here, instead of again removing goalie categories, what about tweaking them and addressing the problem that we need more goalies to be playable? So like even the shitty goalies, there has to be a way for them to have more usage. And here I mentioned it in the Discord is the tiered save percentage, which is currently already an option on Fantrax. But I asked ChatGPT to come up with like a basic version of it. And the reasoning behind it is that when you have GAA for like a bad team, for like a Blackburn, he's probably going to lose you GAA week to week. So that's why he's unplayable. No one wants to play him. And instead, if we make a system where it's not just the average, where like the best goalies, like Dan, the S tier goalies, Jake and Jake Ottinger and Saros have a greater chance of succeeding, but not always winning, then I think that's better than our current system. If we just like the spread of elite and shit goalies are like this, if we just make it a little tighter, I think it's more exciting for the league. So John's not like last in every category, and they're too correlated. So the reason behind this is that if Blackburn has a good schedule and has some spike performances, then he can actually win or contribute greater than he does, if you know what I mean. Like, let's say you have not even Blackburn's a bad example because he's on the Sharks, but let's say you have a shitty goalie with a soft schedule. They're playing the Blackhawks, the Blue Jackets, or well, Blue Jackets are kind of okay, but you know what I mean. The Hawks, the Sharks, the Blackhawks has a soft schedule, and then you play a crappy goalie and they have a stellar performance, then they become more playable. So then it's a more strategic decision of who you should play in the given week. Um, Under the current system, I know Gabi has mentioned that there is an adjustment that he's making, which is to play Varlamov, right? A backup goalie that doesn't get many games that has low GAA. My counter argument to that would be like, that's not really an interesting decision to be made. It's not like an exciting adjustment. You figure out your goalies suck, you play the best backups, it's pretty obvious. Whereas this, like, you actually would have to judge the schedule between your good goalie and so like actually your average goalie playing against the Sharks or the Canadians or whatever with a low GF. The St. Louis Blues might be an actual decision that you have to make. And again, I think it makes some of the crappier goalies better, and that's why I think something like this is better than GAA or adjusted saves. Now, the only downside is, like, I know the common complaint about previous suggestions that this might be too complicated. Like, you don't want to keep track, but at the same time, I mean, I don't think it's that complicated when you watch it live, just like adjusted save. If you have the Fantrax app in front of you, it's pretty straightforward how to tabulate these points. With that, my 5 minutes are coming to a close. But again, I just wanted to throw that idea out there, something that we haven't discussed before, just in case it resonates with some of you. So talk to you in another week.